Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Music Reviewer Podcast. My name's Josh, and I'm the music reviewer. Today we are doing another episode of Best and Worst Track of the Week. This week is going to be of the week of July 25th. Another album bomb, honestly, on this episode. It was expected, though, for the latest or the latest posthumous Juice WRLD record, Legends Never Die. That was 21 songs long. Um, Fortunately, not all of these songs were in this week as new entries, but still, basically, not as bad as like last week with the Pop Smoke record. There's a little bit more variety, not that much more, but a little bit this week. But yeah, before we get started, I just want to let everyone know the last episode I dropped a few days ago was over the latest Margot Price album. That's How Rumors Get Started. If you haven't checked out that episode, go ahead if you're interested in some Americana by a country alternative country artist. Margot Price has a really nice voice, but yeah, um, let's get into this best and worst track of the week. So, just in case you're new to Best and Worst Track of the Week, welcome. Basically, all this is me reviewing the Best and Worst Track of the Week that comes from the new entries that came into the Billboard Hot 100 this week. And of those new entries, I choose the Best and Worst Track. That's honestly all it is. Every track I review, I give a letter grade. So let's dive right into it. Tap In by Saweetie. Saweetie is, this track came in as the lowest charting track this week, 91. She's a female rapper from the Bay Area. Looks like she's up and coming. She had a a past hit with "That's My Type" not too long ago. Honestly, this song is very similar to Megan Thee Stallion's last single. It seems like it might be becoming a trend of like these female rappers alluding to the past with these throwback beats, kind of thing, and just like throwing some bars over it. This track specifically uses like 2000 rap tropes. It has like these whistles, some very heavy sub bass that structures the beat throughout. That's distorted at times. Overall, I thought it was pretty decent. I give it a B. Next track is My Affection by Summer Walker and Party Next Door. Um, that this track was interesting only because I've never really listened to Summer Walker, or I don't really listen to Party Next Door. I know he's been around for a few years now. My introduction to Summer Walker kind of reminds me of SZA, of that alternative R&B variety. She's very similar. I'm not sure if it's sort of like a tribute type act, but I think SZA's from the California as well, but I don't know. This track, My Affection, aesthetically and vocally, very much SZA like. It's a moody instrumental. Her tone sounds a little distracting with like this stuffed nose kind of thing. Might not be her fault, but it's something I couldn't help but notice. The Party Next Door part sounds kind of just like a Chris Brown feature ripoff thing. Pretty basic, nothing too distinguishable. Overall, the song's not too bad. I give it a B minus. Next track is another Summer Walker song, Let It Go. This one I liked a little bit more. It had like this light, bright acoustic guitar instrumental. It's more of like this SZA like similarity. It's basically SZA tribute type stuff from her last album. Overall, the track is pretty light. The production is light when the keys come into. It's kind of has like this floating feeling to it. It's not bad. I give it a B. So now we get into the Juice WRLD stuff of this week. Starting from the very bottom of what came in this week for him. Man of the Year is the name of the track. This one has a bit of like a pop punk flair to it. Think kind of like Blink 182, Sum 41. Um, And overall, the song has like the aesthetics of like Metro Station, that band back in the 2000s with their one or two hits. If you're not familiar with Metro Station, they had like one album. One of the members was like Miley Cyrus's brother. They kind of had their 15 minutes of fame, definitely. It's an upbeat track, wailing vocals. Overall, the song's okay, but just a little too pandering to that pop punk flavor. Um, I give it a C. Next track, I Want It by Juice WRLD. This one, it kind of starts getting into like the aesthetic that I like a lot on this Juice WRLD album. It has like this moodiness to it, like this darkness. Juice WRLD's voice is really smooth. He has a really smooth timbre that really fits in well on this track. He has really nice harmonies. Slightly dreamy as well and lush, especially at the end. Overall, I like the textures and stuff thrown in this track. Overall, I gave it a B plus. Next track was Screw Juice by Juice WRLD. It's kind of more of like this dark moodiness. There's some etherealness to it. It seems kind of like it differently though. What's different on this track is it has like this deep, dirty sub bass thrown in, so it's more of like hip hop in like in the way Juice WRLD interprets hip hop. Um, some light guitar that outlines the tracks on most part. Lyrical content wise, it's a little bit weaker than like Scrooge. Than I say I Want It, or the best track that I'm gonna get to later. Um, has a very dark aesthetic. Overall, I give it a B. Next is another Juice WRLD track, Up and Away. This one came in at 42. This one has like a weird tropical flavor. It has kind of like this pop style production and aesthetic. The track overall emphasizes more on vocals. It's slightly more upbeat. Um, the vocals have effects on them at times. Overall, I think this song sounded a little unfinished. I think that might be an issue with the album overall, due to the untimely death. I don't know if this album was. I should have done more research, but I don't know if this album was really finished or after they did a little bit of post production stuff after he passed away, unfortunately. But Up and Away gets a C. Next one is Fighting Demons by Juice WRLD. This one's like a piano based instrumental. It's a little bit of a shift. Most of the tracks on this album are guitar based. It has like this moody and dark aesthetic that reappears constantly. The lyrical content's a little bit weak. It's not as lush and dreamy on the like textures of the track overall. It's more stripped down and it's played over like a standard trap instrumental. I give it a C. Stay High by Juice WRLD. This one is one of the nicer tracks overall. I like the uplifting message and mood. He shows off his rap chops overall. There's not too much of that on this album. He raps with a nice flow. Overall, the track is a little bit radio friendly, or it uses a radio friendly style. He does throw in a little bit like of a gangsta rap type message or messages with drugs and guns. Overall, I gave the track a B. So the next track came in at 22 this week, and this one's actually not a Juice WRLD track, but I'm really happy it came in. Hopefully it sticks around. It almost got best track of the week, but this is The Adventures of Moonman and Slim Shady, which are the nicknames of the artists Kid Cudi and Eminem. Now, overall, artist wise, I've loved Eminem. I've have since I was a young child because he was one of the first hip hop artists I can even remember. So it's more of like a nostalgia thing that I have appreciation for. But I have seen him live. Kid Cudi, can't really say the same. I know when Day Night came out when I was like in high school, that was a really big song for me, but I just couldn't really get too deep into like his albums and like his cult following. But I know he does have some quality on his some of his releases. Minus like Speeding Bullet to Heaven 2. I know that one's notoriously bad, but this track surprised me. I really like the instrumental. It's like eerie and strange sounding. It kind of like seems like it samples like an indie rock song. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's probably an original, I guess, an original track or instrumental. Cudi's flow is really good. The bass cuts through nicely at times. The ad libs are nice and tasteful. The track has some changes in development throughout. Shady's part, I'd say, is probably like the lower part in this track. It's not bad, but it just changes the character of the entire track, and he just kind of does like his like new type of style. And he addresses like modern issues in it, which I thought was pretty cool because it shows the track's fairly recent. Overall, I gave this one a B plus. Now we're back onto the Juice WRLD train. Bad Energy by Juice WRLD came out 16. This one's a guitar. It's introduced with a guitar riff. The chorus is creative. It hits nicely with like this call and response, like this call and response songwriting on the chorus. There's drug references constantly throughout this track. It does get old by the second verse, but it does end with a nice string synth outro. I gave it a B plus. Next is Titanic by Juice WRLD. It's just a song that lyrical wise about keeping it together when your life is really bad. It has like this really dark lyrical content, which is nothing new to Juice WRLD. Has like a nice melodic motif that's introduced and reintroduced throughout the whole entire track. Straightforward track, nothing too much to say on it. I give it a B. Blood on My Jeans. This one is more of a track that flexes Juice WRLD's crooning. He goes into the higher register at times on this track. Overall, I thought it was a really interesting dichotomy in the production with this light acoustic guitar that is basically played throughout the whole entire track, but it uses this really deep sub bass that kind of just pierces through everything, and everything else kind of just gets lost. The track overall kind of loses itself in the crooning and the trap loop. It kind of overstays its welcome. Pretty straightforward overall. Some interesting metaphors and lyrical content. I gave it a B minus. Hate the Other Side featuring the Kid Laroi and Polo G by Juice WRLD and Marshmello is the next track. This one, unfortunately, I think might have some staying power just because the name's on here, and for some reason, Marshmello just seems to just kind of get he kind of seems to receive credit and praise for everything he does, even though I don't really know what distinguishes him as an artist. He's, in my opinion, just a run of the mill producer making hits, which is fine, but I don't know what the big deal of having Marshmello on your track really provides. And that goes for any artist that collaborates with him. I don't really know much about his original music, but it probably wouldn't be my cup of tea. Um, there's much more quality in EDM, in my opinion, but nonetheless, the Kid Laroi sucks ass on this track. He doesn't know how to fit in with any taste. It kind of kills the track. The hook is okay. The guitar overall just guiding the instrumental throughout the track. Juice WRLD's literally just on the hook. Polo G raps a verse. Not a very good song. I give it a D. Almost got worst track of the week. All right, next track was Conversations by Juice WRLD. I like this one a little bit more just because it featured a sound clip from Jersey Shore. At least I think it did. This song has a really good chorus. It's best when it hits the chorus, especially when the melodic electronic parts and the instrumental show up. Some parts feel uncomfortable in how they perform, especially when he repeats a word over and over and over. It's like, come on, it's not very original. Pretty catchy on the hook. I gave this one a B. Next track is Wishing Well by Juice WRLD. This one's one of the more, I guess promoted tracks. I think this one has a pretty cool music video to it. Some wailing vocals throughout the track. The piano track is really pretty. I'd say it gives it a really bright texture. The instrumental on this track is really good. Some very poppy elements though, especially with the snap percussion on the pre-chorus. Not something I think is typical of Juice WRLD to do something like that. The chorus has elements of being used for like it seems like it could have been used for like a movie soundtrack, honestly. And this track is pretty interesting because he kind of acknowledges and predicts his untimely death, which is pretty sad. Give this one a B plus. Next track was number 2 overall in the Hot 100 this week. Come and Go by Juice WRLD and Marshmello. Again, what the hell does Marshmello bring that distinguishes him to any pop producer Um, I mean, it seems like he knows how to make a decent generic pop drop with EDM, tendencies. Um, the song has a nice build up in the beginning. It leads to like this guitar riff led pre-chorus. It's the most poppy thing on this album by far, and this song probably has some staying power. Um, Overall, it works. It has a really bad awkward transition back to the back to the verse after the first drop chorus thing. Also, it features like this melodic guitar sounding part that guides into like the second drop. Thought that was a pretty cool idea. So maybe Marshmello does have some nice ideas, but I still think he's kind of bland. But yeah, this song was a B, and yeah, that didn't take too long, I guess. Now we are finally to best and worst track of the week. Um, Worst track of the week. I'll start on that so we can leave on a positive note. Be Like That by King Brown with Swae and Khalid. Um, what can I say about this song? It just was really bad, and I think it sucks. It has like this generic Jason Mraz pop like guitar riff that just guides the whole entire song. Kane Brown, it seems like Kane Brown's like trying to like expand past country with this because it seems like he sees the writing on the wall and maybe he sees that country maybe will never really give him his credit, even though in my opinion he's kind of a pretty normal basic country artist. Um, Anyways, it's a very sanitary track, innocuous, bland, forgettable. I know it'll probably be a hit, but Jesus, this is just this is watching paint. This is watching paint dry. This is bologna sandwiches on white bread. Swae Lee sounds like a little bitch, and I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but he just sounds like he's pandering to a pop audience on this. Like any credibility he had with Ray Shremmerd, especially with being a rap artist and edginess, is like kind of lost with this stuff he's doing on these features that he's getting on probably just to stay relevant and avoid making another Ray Shremmerd album. This track has no grit. Why is Khalid on this song? He doesn't need to be on the song because he's just as good of a singer as Kane Brown, and he really is just the, I guess, kind of like the second fiddle. Um, this is the worst track of the week. Um, Next track, or actually best track of the week, was by Juice WRLD. This one was a little bit hard of a decision because I wanted to give it to Kid Cudi and Eminem, but I feel like Juice WRLD deserved it. Can't Die was the name of the track. This one's it features like this really depressing lyrical content, but I really love the mood and the aesthetic as he has like these reverby and echoing vocals that just kind of work. I like the light guitar that's thrown in the chorus. The verse is catchy, and overall, I think this kind of just sums together what Juice WRLD was great at and what made him a special artist while he was doing what he did, kind of reinventing the emo trap or kind of inventing emo trap in a sense, and kind of pushing those boundaries. So yeah, rest in peace to Juice WRLD. You got best track of the week with Can't Die, and that concludes best and worst track of the week. If you made it to the end of this episode, thanks for listening. I'm the music reviewer. Stick around this week. I'll drop some more reviews. I'm probably going to do Oliver Tree this week, his album, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm wanting to get to. So yeah, take care of yourselves. I'll see y'all later.